The T-Rel Dominion was in chaos as their sun, Solara Prime, began to die faster than anyone had predicted. The once brilliant star dimmed to a pale orange, sending waves of fear across the Zyphor sector. Scientists and engineers scrambled to find solutions, but every calculation and experiment failed to stabilize the energy output. The Cerulean colonies, including Ithara Prime and Nalor 4, faced increasing heat fluctuations and energy shortages. Crops failed, cities went dark, and panic spread among the population. Admiral Kryn Vorel convened emergency meetings in the high towers of Vairella colony, his stern expression hiding the deep worry that consumed him. He knew the Dominion had no time left, no internal technology could save them, and desperate measures were required. The Tyrell Council finally agreed to send a distress signal, a call for help broadcast across the galaxy. A message encoded with complex energy pulses and linguistic algorithms meant to reach any advanced civilization capable of understanding it. The message carried both technical data and pleas for assistance. Every Tyrell who worked on it felt the weight of their civilization's survival resting on this one signal. The message traveled through deep space, crossing sectors, jumping between nebula and slipping past asteroid belts, light years away, on Earth. The signal was picked up by Dr. Alina Carter, a human astrophysicist who spent her life scanning the skies for anomalies. The raw energy patterns made no sense at first, flickering and changing like a cosmic puzzle. She ran simulations and filters, isolating the structured pulses that carried intentional design. She realized this was not a natural occurrence. It was intelligent, deliberate. A call for help. She contacted Commander Raj Patel at the orbital station Artemis. Their joint team worked night and day, analyzing the TERL coordinates, the energy fluctuations of Solara Prime, and the potential scale of the disaster. They quickly understood the urgency. This was not a minor planetary problem. This was a stellar catastrophe that could wipe out an entire civilization if left unchecked. Commander Patel gathered the fleet of ships prepared for experimental missions, including the SS Horizon and SS Pathfinder. Human engineers modified energy drones and field stabilizers, each device designed to interact with alien stellar energy in ways no human had attempted before. The team ran simulations using Earth's sun as a testing ground, carefully mapping energy transfer patterns and calibrating the drones to withstand unknown solar outputs. Dr. Carter coordinated with the engineers, her hands moving quickly across holographic controls, interpreting alien energy signatures. She knew the Tyrell had no time left, and that humans had to act fast. Their technology was primitive compared to the vast empires of the galaxy, but creativity, determination, and adaptability were humanity's strengths. Back in the Zyphor sector, Admiral Kryn Vorel and his council monitored space for any response. The Tyrell had expected assistance from an empire or ally, not from a species like humans. Their sensors detected faint signals moving through hyperspace, small, seemingly fragile ships. The Tyrell could not have imagined that these signals were from Earth. Humans were preparing, unaware of how the Tyrell would interpret them. The Tyrell military and scientific teams debated whether the approaching fleet was a threat or a savior. Tensions rose in the colonies, particularly in Nalor 4, where energy shortages caused unrest among citizens. The council feared the worst, but had no choice but to wait. Meanwhile, on Earth, preparations continued at an unprecedented pace. Humans worked together. Engineers, scientists, pilots, and communication experts all focused on one goal: saving another species. Dr. Carter and Commander Patel reviewed the trajectory to Solara Prime, ensuring the ships would arrive safely and that energy stabilization drones would deploy precisely where needed. They considered every possible failure. But humans thrived on challenges, improvising, adjusting, and learning rapidly. They knew the journey would be dangerous, navigating unknown space with experimental technology. But failure was not an option. The survival of an entire civilization depended on them. As the human fleet readied for departure, they transmitted a message back into deep space, a signal of their own, confirming their intention to help. The Tyrell Dominion detected it and misinterpreted it, but the humans remained calm, letting the misunderstanding play out while they prepared to act. Each human aboard the SS Horizon felt a mix of excitement and responsibility, understanding that this was not just a mission. It was a chance to show that humanity could rise to challenges beyond its own world. and in the cold, dark stretches of space, the distress signal of the Tyrell Dominion had set in motion events that no one could have predicted. A meeting between two civilizations that would redefine the galaxy's perception of humans. The Tyrell Dominion watched the approaching human ships with a mix of curiosity and fear. Admiral Kryn Vorel and his council struggled to interpret the strange signals. The SS Horizon and SS Pathfinder moved through the Zypher sector quietly, their sleek black hulls reflecting distant starlight. The Tyrell sensors detected the human fleet but misread its intentions. They assumed that the humans were part of a larger galactic power, an auxiliary force sent to enforce order or extract advantage. Panic spread through the Cerulean colonies, including Ithara Prime and Nalor 4. The Tyrell mobilized defensive fleets and activated planetary shields. Commanders like Sirach Thal and Lyra Vex led patrols across the colonies, ready to engage the newcomers at a moment's notice. Meanwhile, on Earth, Dr. Elena Carter and Commander Raj Patel coordinated final preparations for arrival. Every crew member knew the Tyrell might mistake them for hostile forces, yet they remained calm, relying on precision, planning, and ingenuity. The humans studied Tyrell communication patterns and military protocols, designing countermeasures to avoid triggering conflict. The Tyrell debated internally whether to respond with diplomacy or immediate caution. Their history with unknown species made them wary. Even minor misunderstandings could lead to devastating wars. They reinforced the orbital defenses around Varela Colony, deploying advanced energy turrets and magnetic barriers. But they had no idea of the humans' true capabilities. The humans had no intention to fight. Their mission was strictly to stabilize Solara Prime. Dr. Carter analyzed the energy readings remotely, creating a precise deployment plan for the drones. Commander Patel briefed the pilots, emphasizing stealth, efficiency, and constant communication. Every maneuver had to avoid misinterpretation, yet the Tyrell assumed calculated movements were signs of strategic superiority from a larger ally. Tension mounted in the colonies. Families fled to shelters. Officials held emergency broadcasts. And the Tyrell military prepared for engagement with what they believed was an overwhelmingly powerful force. Human engineers modified the SS Horizon's energy projection units to interface with alien energy fields. Each drone was equipped to analyze the sun's decay, transmit data back to Earth, and begin preliminary stabilization. They ran simulations using historical Tyrell energy patterns captured from intercepted signals. Dr. Carter monitored every test, correcting calibrations in real time. Commander Patel coordinated navigation through dense asteroid belts and radiation zones to avoid detection until the optimal moment. Humans understood that a direct confrontation could be disastrous. Even a single misstep could trigger the Tyrell defenses. But they also recognized that the aliens' fear was an advantage. It created hesitation and gave humans a window to act without interference. In the Zypher sector, the Tyrell fleet observed the humans closely. Calculating the potential threat, they assumed the fleet represented a contingent of an unknown empire, possibly one far beyond the Dominion's understanding. They debated whether to communicate, attack, or wait. Admiral Kryn Vorel decided to maintain a defensive posture, instructing Sirach Thal to prepare boarding ships and energy interceptors. The colonies were on high alert, but no immediate action was taken. The humans moved cautiously, projecting non-threatening signals while continuing toward Solara Prime. Each maneuver was carefully measured. Drones deployed in stealth mode to begin mapping the star's energy flux. The Tyrell watched, intrigued and confused, unable to comprehend that this small fleet of humans acted independently. As the human fleet approached, minor incidents occurred. Energy spikes in the Tyrell sensors created alarms, yet humans adjusted their trajectory and communication signals to prevent escalation. Dr. Carter instructed the engineers to slow down the energy readings, creating the impression of passive observation. Commander Patel directed the ships in a tight formation to minimize exposure and maximize control. Humans relied on ingenuity and adaptability, improvising when the Tyrell interference disrupted initial calculations. Every crew member aboard the SS Horizon and SS Pathfinder understood the delicate balance between action and misinterpretation. The Tyrell's assumption that a larger force had sent them created a tense stalemate, giving humans the time they needed to finalize drone deployment and energy stabilization plans. Back in the colonies, the Drell citizens watched anxiously as signals from the approaching fleet flickered across their screens. Admiral Kryn Vorel consulted with Lyra Vex, attempting to decode the humans' purpose. But every analysis reinforced their mistaken assumption that humans were emissaries of an unknown empire. The Trell mobilized resources defensively, energy barriers, interceptor drones, and planetary shields, all prepared for potential conflict. Yet, humans continued forward without aggression, letting the Trell draw conclusions, simultaneously preparing to intervene at the precise moment to stabilize Solara Prime. Dr. Carter and Commander Patel coordinated their teams, knowing that timing, precision, and calm behavior were critical. Humanity's ability to adapt and act decisively would determine whether the Trell survived the stellar crisis, and whether first contact would lead to cooperation or catastrophe. Human ships emerged from hyperspace near Solara Prime, their sleek black hulls cutting through the faint starlight. The SS Horizon and SS Pathfinder moved with precision, drones deployed silently ahead of the fleet to map energy flows and assess the sun's instability. The Tyrell Dominion immediately detected their arrival. Alarms blared across Virella Colony and the Cerulean colonies, including Ithara Prime and Naylor 4. Admiral Kryn Vorel commanded his fleet to full alert, preparing energy turrets, magnetic shields, and interceptor drones. The Tyrell could not comprehend how such a small, fragile-looking fleet could travel so quickly across sectors. Tension spread among the colonies. Citizens watched the skies anxiously, unsure whether the newcomers were friends or an overwhelming force. The humans projected comm signals, broadcasting universal greetings through the Harmonia communication array. The Tyrell intercepted them but misinterpreted them as formal diplomatic gestures from a powerful empire. Each movement of the human ships was carefully measured to avoid triggering hostile reactions. Dr. Elena Carter monitored energy readings from the drones, analyzing the solar decay patterns and planning precise intervention points. Commander Raj Patel guided the ships in tight formations, ensuring the drones could reach the optimal positions around Solara Prime. The humans understood the Tyrell were observing every action, yet they remained focused on the mission, knowing any misstep could provoke a defensive response. The Tyrell fleet, led by Admiral Kryn Vorel and Commander Sirach Thal, watched with a mix of awe and confusion, their sensors unable to explain the humans' rapid adaptability and technical improvisation. As the humans approached orbit, preliminary drones deployed to gather real-time energy data, mapping the unstable solar flares and radiation bursts. The drones transmitted back to the SS Horizon, where Dr. Carter and her team analyzed the information instantly. Human engineers adjusted the field stabilizers, calibrating them to interface with Solara Prime's unique energy signature. The Rel could only observe, unsure how such small vessels could operate with precision on a scale they believed required immense fleets. Human ships continued to advance slowly, maintaining non-threatening positions. The fleet emitted minimal energy signatures to avoid overwhelming Tyrell sensors. Yet the sophistication of their movement and coordination impressed the aliens despite the misunderstanding. The Tyrell Council debated whether to allow the humans closer. Admiral Kryn Vorel insisted on a defensive perimeter, while some council members argued for cautious observation. Every decision carried enormous stakes. The Cerulean colonies prepared for potential conflict, but the humans acted with patience, letting the Tyrell assume superiority while they quietly assessed the sun's decay. Energy readings fluctuated unpredictably, yet human drones adapted, rerouting power and stabilizing fluctuations. Dr. Carter explained strategies to Commander Patel, who relayed commands to the fleet in real time. Every ship responded instantly, demonstrating humanity's ability to improvise under pressure. Tyrell engineers, including Lyra Vex, recorded these operations with fascination, struggling to reconcile the humans' calm demeanor with their precise technological interventions. As orbital distance closed, the humans initiated phased energy probes to measure the sun's plasma output. Each probe collected data that humans had never encountered before. The REL observed magnetic stabilization fields forming around Solara Prime, energy arcs creating patterns they could not replicate. The sight of controlled solar flares left Tyrell scientists awestruck. Citizens of Naylor 4 and Ithara Prime witnessed the first signs of hope as their dying sun seemed to stabilize incrementally. The humans remained focused on their task. Ignoring the Tyrell observation, prioritizing accuracy, safety, and timing over recognition, the SS Pathfinder deployed specialized drones to monitor fluctuations in the outer layers of the sun, feeding data back to the fleet. Human engineers adjusted energy transmission protocols to counter unexpected surges. The Tyrell remained tense, convinced they were witnessing the work of a larger galactic ally guiding the humans. Every movement reinforced their misconception, while humans continued with subtle precision, carefully avoiding interference with Tyrell satellites and communication relays. The humans' calm and calculated approach created a stalemate, allowing them to maintain full operational freedom, while the Tyrell watched helplessly, unable to challenge the fleet. Every adjustment made by Dr. Carter and her team stabilized the sun slightly more, giving the Tyrell colonies breathing room to survive. Commander Patel coordinated drone deployment. Human ships maintained orbit at perfect distance, keeping energy signatures low. The Tyrell could only speculate how such a small species achieved such control. By the time the humans completed initial energy mapping and stabilization of Solara Prime's outer layers, the Tyrell Dominion had fully realized the unprecedented skill of the humans. They remained cautious and defensive. Yet awe and curiosity replaced some of their fear. Humans had arrived quietly, calmly, and decisively, changing the dynamic in the Zyphor sector. The fleet now prepared for the next phase, to begin direct intervention with energy stabilization, knowing that the success of this mission would determine the survival of an entire civilization. The Tyrell, watching from their colonies, still believed in the presence of an unseen empire backing these humans. While in reality, it was the ingenuity, courage, and precision of a single species acting independently that held the key to Solara Prime's survival. A Tyrell delegation, led by Commander Sirac Thal, approached the human fleet cautiously, weapons ready, but held in a non-aggressive formation. The SS Horizon and SS Pathfinder remained in orbit at a safe distance, projecting calm energy signals and displaying holographic messages of greeting and explanation. The Tyrell scanned the humans' technology, finding it advanced. Yet unlike anything in the Zyphor sector, they assumed these ships were part of a hidden galactic empire, a force far beyond their understanding. Dr. Alina Carter and Commander Raj Patel observed the approaching delegation, prepared to respond with transparency and clarity, projecting energy readings and data that showed Solara Prime's instability and the humans' mission to stabilize it. The Tyrell delegation struggled to interpret the information, their sensors registering complex fields and energy flows they could not reproduce. Commander Sirac Thal exchanged signals with Admiral Kryn Vorel, debating whether to initiate defensive maneuvers or continue observation. The Tyrell remained skeptical of the humans' true intentions. Their experience with other species taught them that appearances could be deceptive. They assumed the humans had been sent as representatives of a superior empire, not as independent actors. Meanwhile, humans continued to broadcast friendly gestures and technical explanations, allowing the Tyrell to observe without feeling threatened. Holographic projections displayed the drone's energy stabilization patterns, showing how they would slowly stabilize Solara Prime without harming the planets orbiting it. The Tyrell engineers, including Lyra Vex, studied the projections, fascinated yet confused by the humans' methods. The Tyrell could not believe a species so small and seemingly fragile could operate with such precision and technical understanding. Every movement of the human drones appeared deliberate, careful, and exact, yet devoid of any aggression. The Tyrell assumed that these actions were guided by unseen allies, an empire so advanced that humans were only instruments of their design. The humans continued their work, deploying energy stabilization drones in careful sequences, monitoring solar flares, magnetic fields, and radiation bursts. Dr. Carter coordinated the operations from the SS Horizon, adjusting drone pathways to maintain stability while avoiding interference with Tyrell satellites and communication networks. Commander Patel guided the ships in synchronized formations, ensuring drones could reach critical areas around the sun. As the first drones began transmitting data back to the human ships, the Tyrell delegation observed the calculations and control protocols, unable to comprehend the humans' ability to improvise on the fly. Each drone adapted instantly to sudden changes in solar activity, Tyrell sensors could only record and observe, unable to replicate the adjustments. The humans' calm demeanor contrasted with the Tyrell's tension and fear. The Cerulean colonies watched anxiously. Citizens of Ithara Prime and Naylor 4 witnessing the first signs of hope as energy fields began to stabilize minor solar fluctuations. The humans' precision impressed the Tyrell, but their misinterpretation remained. They continued to believe a hidden empire had sent these humans. Dr. Carter and Commander Patel used this misunderstanding strategically, knowing the Tyrell's perception of superiority created a temporary advantage. They allowed the aliens to watch every move while keeping the operation transparent and safe. The humans demonstrated their ability to coordinate multiple drones, analyze real-time energy data, and adjust stabilization patterns without pause. Tyrell scientists recorded every detail, hoping to reverse engineer the methods, while humans avoided interference with any Tyrell technology. The calm patience of the humans gradually shifted the Tyrell's awe from fear to cautious respect. Each new drone deployment further stabilized Solara Prime, and the Tyrell began to realize that the humans were achieving results their empire could not replicate easily. Despite the tension, no conflict occurred, and the humans maintained full operational control, demonstrating superior problem-solving, rapid adaptation, and teamwork. The Tyrell delegation continued to misinterpret their intentions, assuming they were observing the humans' every move for the benefit of an unseen authority. The humans continued to advance their energy stabilization program, reinforcing the star's energy output and reducing the intensity of flares threatening orbiting colonies. Holographic displays projected the gradual success of each stabilization sequence. Tyrell engineers could see results in real time, but could not understand the simplicity and creativity behind the humans' methods. By the end of the initial contact phase, the Tyrell delegation had witnessed humanity's independent ingenuity, precise coordination, and technical mastery, yet they still believed in a hidden empire controlling the humans. The Cerulean colonies began to feel cautious optimism as minor solar fluctuations diminished. The humans' calm, methodical actions had created trust without breaking the Tyrell's assumptions. Dr. Carter and Commander Patel prepared for the next phase, to expand stabilization across Solara Prime while maintaining non-aggression and respect for Tyrell sovereignty. Humanity had turned a potential confrontation into an opportunity to prove their skill, courage, and adaptability, while the Tyrell continued to observe, misjudging the true independence and capability of the species before them. Humans activated the specialized energy devices aboard the SS Horizon and SS Pathfinder, sending controlled energy flows towards Solara Prime. The drones interfaced with the star's unstable plasma, creating magnetic stabilization fields that slowed the sun's decay. Brilliant arcs of energy danced around the star, visible even from the Cerulean colonies. Tyrell citizens of Ithara Prime and Naylor 4 watched in awe, unable to comprehend the precision and power of the human technology. Admiral Kryn Vorel and Commander Sirik Thal observed from Varela Colony, still convinced that some unseen empire had sent these humans to intervene. Every adjustment made by the drones seemed effortless. Yet behind the scenes, Dr. Elena Carter and Commander Raj Patel coordinated thousands of calculations in real time, adapting instantly to fluctuations in the sun's energy output. The Tyrell engineers, including Lyra Vex, studied the human operations meticulously, hoping to replicate the techniques. Yet each sequence revealed improvisation and adaptability far beyond what their empire could produce. Humans displayed an understanding of energy flow, plasma dynamics, and magnetic stabilization that seemed impossible for their relatively small species. The drones reacted to sudden solar flares, recalibrating paths, adjusting energy outputs, and reinforcing weak areas of the star's outer layers. The Tyrell could only observe, their defenses remaining inactive because they feared provoking an overwhelming response from the presumed hidden empire behind the humans. Citizens across the Cerulean colonies felt hope for the first time in decades. As the sun's intensity stabilized gradually, small fluctuations diminished, and the risk of immediate planetary catastrophe declined. Human engineers communicated silently, using encrypted channels aboard the SS Horizon, ensuring that every drone's movement and every energy adjustment was coordinated perfectly. Dr. Carter monitored magnetic fields, radiation levels, and plasma surges, sending commands to drones mid-flight, while Commander Patel ensured the fleet maintained optimal positions for energy distribution. The SS Pathfinder deployed secondary drones to monitor and stabilize the sun's polar regions, where energy fluctuations were most severe. Each small adjustment contributed to the overall stability, demonstrating humanity's ability to handle complex problems in real time. The Tyrell could see the results, but they misinterpreted the humans' calm efficiency as evidence of superior backing, not independent skill. As the humans continued their work, solar flares that had threatened colonies now dissipated harmlessly within the magnetic stabilization grids. Energy pulses balanced across Solara Prime. The drones reacted dynamically, anticipating changes before they occurred. The humans' adaptability astonished Tyrell scientists, who could only replicate sequences mechanically without the instinctive improvisation humans displayed. Dr. Carter explained to her team how minor adjustments in drone positioning and energy output could prevent catastrophic flares. Commander Patel relayed the changes to every ship, synchronizing actions across the fleet. The precision of coordination amazed even the humans themselves, yet they remained calm, focused solely on saving the star and its dependent colonies. The Tyrell, observing from their colonies, remained convinced of a hidden empire controlling the humans, misreading every successful stabilization as a demonstration of external power. Admiral Kryn Vorel and Commander Sirak Thal debated cautiously, reluctant to interfere with the human operation. Their fear of potential retaliation kept their forces in check. Citizens of Virella Colony watched nervously as arcs of energy stabilized the sky, realizing that their survival now depended on the humans' skill. Hope began to spread alongside awe. Every new stabilization sequence improved energy output, reducing the risk to planetary habitats, crops, and essential infrastructure. Humans worked relentlessly, analyzing results and recalibrating drones. Humanity's teamwork extended beyond technology, combining ingenuity, improvisation, and observation to respond to unexpected solar surges. The Tyrell remained observers, unable to match the humans' adaptability. Every calculation, adjustment, and deployment reinforced the humans' independent mastery. Dr. Carter's mind raced as she anticipated plasma flares before they occurred, sending real-time commands that the drones executed flawlessly. Commander Patel adjusted ship positions to maintain balance across orbital paths. Human ships moved seamlessly, their actions synchronized as if the entire fleet were a single organism. The Tyrell could only watch, assuming a hidden empire directed this operation, unaware that every move was human decision-making in action. By the end of the first major stabilization phase, Solara Prime's energy output had increased in stability. The intensity of solar flares was reduced dramatically, and colonies including Ithara Prime and Naylor 4 began to breathe easier. The humans had demonstrated not only technical mastery but adaptability, creativity, and courage. Their independent problem-solving had prevented disaster. The Tyrell, despite their misunderstanding, had witnessed a species capable of controlling stellar energy, a feat they believed required an empire. Yet humans had done it alone. Every arc of energy, every drone adjustment, and every coordinated ship movement proved humanity's ability to act decisively, innovatively, and successfully under pressure, changing the perception of their species forever. Humans began sharing knowledge carefully with the Tyrell, projecting holographic displays from the SS Horizon and SS Pathfinder, demonstrating the principles behind their energy stabilization technology. Commander Raj Patel led interactive sessions with Tyrell engineers, showing them how the drones adapted to sudden solar flares and magnetic surges. Dr. Alina Carter explained the algorithms and improvisation methods that allowed humans to respond in real time. Tyrell scientists, including Lyra Vex, studied every detail, fascinated by the human ability to combine instinctive problem-solving with technology. The humans emphasized transparency, showing that their mission was to help Solara Prime and its colonies, not to control or dominate. Yet, the TRL still believed humans acted on behalf of a hidden galactic empire. Every gesture and demonstration was misinterpreted as evidence of unseen backing. Despite the misunderstanding, the Tyrell began to appreciate humanity's ingenuity, observing how the drones could stabilize energy fluctuations that their own technology struggled to manage. Humans explained the importance of observation, analysis, and adaptability, showing how they could predict energy surges before they happened. Trell engineers attempted to replicate the procedures, but they struggled to match the improvisation and timing of the humans. Dr. Carter guided them patiently, encouraging experimentation while monitoring the sun's stability. Commander Patel coordinated drone movements, ensuring that Trell observation did not interfere with the stabilization process. The humans' calm, methodical approach impressed even the most skeptical members of the Cerulean colonies. Over time, cultural exchange developed alongside technical collaboration. Humans shared small aspects of their philosophy, emphasizing teamwork, creative thinking, and the value of rapid adaptation. Trell scholars had never encountered a species that approached problems in such a flexible way. Their structured, rule-based methods contrasted sharply with human improvisation. Yet results spoke for themselves. Each successful drone adjustment and every stabilized solar flare proved the effectiveness of human methods. The Tyrell began to understand that strength did not always lie in massive fleets or rigid protocols. But in intelligence, creativity, and coordination, humans demonstrated that a small, determined team could achieve what empires could not. Dr. Carter and Commander Patel also encouraged communication between the Tyrell colonies and human operators, facilitating a cooperative workflow. Energy readings from Naylor 4, Ithara Prime, and Varela colony were integrated into drone calculations, allowing both species to participate in real-time problem-solving. Humans carefully explained the principles of feedback loops, energy modulation, and adaptive control, making the Tyrell engineers active participants in the stabilization process. Yet the aliens could not fully comprehend the humans' ability to anticipate changes instinctively. They assumed some larger force guided the humans' decisions, but gradually, respect and admiration began to replace fear. The humans' approach combined education, demonstration, and action, teaching the Tyrell that survival required flexibility as much as technology. Commander Patel guided orbital maneuvers that allowed Tyrell observers to see energy stabilization in action without interference. Dr. Carter allowed limited access to drone controls under supervision, creating trust while maintaining safety. The Tyrell learned to predict energy surges, implement minor adjustments, and understand the logic behind human improvisation. They began to record methods for future reference, realizing that humans were not only capable of saving their sun, but also capable of inspiring new approaches to problem solving. As the days progressed, minor solar flares became manageable, colonies experienced fewer energy disruptions, and citizens noticed the return of stability. The Tyrell slowly internalized the lesson that observation, creativity, and courage could achieve what conventional technology alone could not. Human crews continued to balance direct intervention with guidance, showing patience and strategic thinking. Each successful stabilization reinforced the Tyrell's growing respect for humanity. While their assumption of an external empire persisted, the humans had proven that their species could act independently, effectively, and innovatively under pressure. By the end of this phase, the Tyrell had learned not only technical methods, but also the value of adaptive thinking and collaboration. Humans had created a model of interspecies teamwork, demonstrating that courage, intelligence, and creativity could achieve results beyond expectation. Admiral Kryn Vorel and Commander Sirach Thal began to consider the potential of future cooperation, recognizing that humans could be reliable partners rather than mere tools. The Cerulean colonies began to rebuild confidence in their survival prospects, and humanity's calm, effective, and collaborative approach had created both practical solutions and lasting admiration, teaching the Tyrell that strength came not only from technology, but also from ingenuity, adaptability, and teamwork. During the final phase of the mission, the humans continued their work around Solara Prime, expanding the stabilization grids to cover the sun's most unstable regions. Drones monitored plasma surges, magnetic fluctuations, and radiation bursts. Each adjustment calculated in real time by Dr. Alina Carter aboard the SS Horizon. Commander Raj Patel coordinated the fleet, ensuring that the SS Pathfinder and supporting drones maintained precise orbital positions. The Drell observed from Virela Colony, Ithara Prime, and Naylor 4. Still believing that humans were acting under the guidance of a hidden galactic empire, every successful stabilization reinforced their perception that the humans were emissaries of a superior power. Yet, the humans remained focused on independent problem solving, improvising and adapting without any external assistance. As the drones worked, minor solar flares diminished, energy output stabilized, and the planets orbiting Solara Prime experienced fewer disturbances. Trell engineers like Lyra Vex recorded every sequence, attempting to understand the human methods, but they struggled to replicate the improvisation and instinctive adjustments that allowed humans to respond so effectively. The Cerulean colonies began to feel hope. Citizens watching the skies noted that the sun seemed more stable than it had in decades. The Trell leadership realized that the humans' actions had a tangible impact, yet their belief in unseen backing persisted. They could not accept that such a small, independent species had achieved this level of mastery. Dr. Carter and Commander Patel carefully guided the drones through the sun's most volatile zones, demonstrating how to anticipate changes and deploy stabilizing energy flows without causing harm to orbiting planets. Humans explained patterns of solar behavior, the effects of plasma surges, and how to balance magnetic fields in real time. The Tyrell engineers tried to follow, participating under supervision, yet the humans' intuitive responses continued to outperform the Tyrell's attempts at calculation. The aliens began to recognize that the humans were not simply executing orders, but actively making decisions, adapting strategies, and controlling outcomes through ingenuity and courage. As the last of the major solar flares diminished, Admiral Kryn Vorel and Commander Sirach Thal began to realize the full scale of humanity's independence. The humans were not guided by any empire, nor were they acting as intermediaries. Their skill, coordination, and courage had achieved what the Tyrell believed impossible. The Cerulean colonies experienced a renewed sense of stability. Energy grids resumed normal operations, and infrastructure that had been threatened by solar instability now functioned without interruption. Humans continued monitoring and fine-tuning, aware that even minor errors could reverse progress. Every adjustment was deliberate, precise, and calculated, demonstrating not only technology but intelligence and foresight. The Tyrell delegation, though still cautious, began to express admiration, realizing that the humans' creativity and quick thinking were unmatched. Despite their previous assumptions, Admiral Kryn Vorel held meetings to discuss the implications of humanity's actions, acknowledging that this species had independently stabilized a dying star, a feat that no empire, no matter how advanced, had accomplished within the Dominion's records. Citizens of Virella Colony and neighboring systems watched as energy fields formed protective barriers around the sun, witnessing the humans' work in awe. The Tyrell began to understand the true power of determination, teamwork, and adaptability, qualities they had not fully recognized in humans before. Throughout the operation, humans maintained humility, focusing on results rather than recognition. Dr. Carter explained that their mission was about saving lives and civilizations, not demonstrating superiority. Commander Patel ensured that every crew member coordinated seamlessly. Responding to unexpected fluctuations in the sun's energy, the Tyrell engineers, while amazed, learned valuable lessons about improvisation, observation, and problem solving. Understanding that rigid protocols alone could not match the humans' ability to adapt, the humans' calm decisiveness created trust without breaking the Tyrell's misconceptions entirely, and the aliens began to see them as capable, intelligent partners, rather than mysterious agents of an unknown empire. By the conclusion of the final stabilization phase, Solara Prime's energy output had reached a sustainable level, with minimal risk to orbiting planets and colonies. The Tyrell formally acknowledged the humans' achievement, realizing that their initial fears and assumptions were misplaced. The Cerulean colonies experienced relief, hope, and admiration for the species that had arrived seemingly out of nowhere. The humans had demonstrated courage, intelligence, and independence, showing that a small, determined species could achieve what empires could not. The Tyrell began to consider future collaboration, no longer viewing humanity as a potential tool or subordinate, but as a partner capable of reshaping interstellar survival and problem solving. The arrival of Dr. Carter, Commander Patel, and the human fleet had forever changed the Tyrell's perception of what one species could accomplish, After months of careful work around Solara Prime, the humans prepared to conclude their mission. Every drone had completed its stabilization routines, energy flows across the sun were balanced, and the solar flares that had once threatened the cerulean colonies were now controlled. Dr. Elena Carter monitored final data streams aboard the SS Horizon, confirming that all systems were stable. Commander Raj Patel coordinated the fleet, ensuring that each ship and drone completed its tasks and returned to secure positions. The Tyrell Dominion watched from Varela Colony, Ithara Prime, and Naylor 4, still believing that humans acted under the guidance of an unseen galactic empire. Yet each successful stabilization proved that humanity had acted independently, with skill, precision, and courage. The Tyrell leadership, including Admiral Kryn Vorel and Commander Cyrak Thal, held discussions about the implications of humanity's success, realizing that this small species had accomplished a feat that no empire, past or present, had achieved within their sector. The cerulean colonies began to relax as energy flows stabilized. Citizens witnessed the sun's calmer, steady light, crops grew without sudden heat surges, and planetary infrastructure resumed normal operation. The humans had not only prevented disaster, but had inspired hope across the Dominion. The aliens began to reconsider their assumptions, understanding that strength and influence did not always come from numbers or empires, but from intelligence, creativity, and decisive action. Humans left behind advanced energy stabilization drones and detailed protocols, holographic data and simulations that could be used by Tyrell engineers to maintain the sun's stability in the future. Dr. Carter and her team explained operational procedures to Tyrell engineers like Lyra Vex, ensuring knowledge transfer without creating dependence. Commander Patel emphasized collaboration, teaching Tyrell engineers how to monitor and adjust energy flows while encouraging independent thinking. The Tyrell gradually recognized that humans did not seek control or dominance, but aimed to empower them with tools and understanding, a gesture of trust that deepened interspecies respect. As the humans prepared to depart, the SS Horizon and SS Pathfinder coordinated final flight paths, leaving behind stabilization drones and energy monitoring satellites. Orbital maneuvers were precise, ensuring that the Tyrell colonies could continue observing human methods without interference. The humans transmitted a farewell message, offering continued guidance if necessary, but stressing the Tyrell's ability to manage their sun independently. Admiral Kryn Vorel and Commander Cyrak Thal received the message with a mixture of awe and humility, recognizing that the humans' courage, intelligence, and adaptability had saved entire colonies without external support. The cerulean colonies began to celebrate, citizens finally free from the constant fear of solar collapse. The humans' departure was ceremonial in its quiet precision. The Tyrell fleet, including Sentinel ships from Naylor Guardian and Ithara Sentinel, escorted them briefly as a mark of respect, acknowledging the unique contribution of humanity. Dr. Carter and Commander Patel coordinated the fleet's exit, transmitting final energy readings and operational logs, ensuring that the stabilization systems remained effective after their departure. The Tyrell Dominion formally acknowledged the humans' achievement, understanding for the first time that this small species had acted independently, a revelation that reshaped their perception of intelligence, courage, and problem-solving across the galaxy. As the SS Horizon and SS Pathfinder moved away from Solara Prime, humans reflected on their mission, proud of the results, yet humble in their actions. Every decision, calculation, and improvisation had contributed to the survival of an entire civilization. The Tyrell had observed, learned, and grown to respect humanity, their previous misconceptions of hidden empires dissipating slowly as the truth became clear. Humans had proven that determination, creativity, and teamwork could overcome challenges even greater than any known empire had faced. The galaxy began to whisper of humanity, not as a fragile newcomer, but as a species capable of extraordinary accomplishments. The Tyrell Dominion began to prepare for future collaboration, inspired by the humans' methods, adopting adaptive problem-solving techniques and innovative energy management strategies. Admiral Kryn Vorel recognized that First Contact had exceeded all expectations, showing that even a small species could achieve monumental results without coercion or hidden alliances. The Cerulean colonies flourished under stable solar conditions, their citizens free to rebuild and expand, guided by knowledge shared by humans. The SS Horizon and SS Pathfinder continued their journey toward Earth, leaving behind not only stabilized energy fields, but a legacy of courage, intelligence, and independence. Humanity had arrived quietly, acted decisively, and departed, leaving the galaxy forever changed. In the end, the Tyrell Dominion never forgot the independent skill of Dr. Carter, Commander Patel, and the human fleet, the species that had saved Solara Prime through innovation, teamwork, and bravery. The story of humanity's arrival spread across sectors, inspiring other civilizations to reconsider the underestimated power of determination and creativity. The humans had arrived not as helpers, not as subjects of an empire, but as equals, showing the galaxy what one species could achieve through courage, intelligence, and relentless commitment to life. The legacy of their mission endured in the stabilized sun, the thriving Cerulean colonies, and the respect of an entire alien civilization.